Tonight on the channel, I've got something Stephen A. Smith said on his show that absolutely blew me away, folks. He made a point that I need to share with you all because it changes the way we view one of the Lakers' off-season moves, and I mean in a huge way. Stephen A. was emphatic. This is way better than we initially thought. While everyone's been focused on the big names, Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, even some of the other rumored targets, there's one player in particular who's flown under the radar, yet according to Stephen A., could have a massive impact. That player is Jake LaRavia, and the details coming out now make it clear that this is one of those under-the-radar, absolute steal that Rob Pelinka pulled off in this wild offseason. Stephen A. didn't mince words. He said, "People sleep on this at their own peril. Jake LaRavia is not just a spot-up shooter. He's a multi-dimensional player who can contribute on both ends of the floor. And at 23 years old, his upside is insane." Let's break that down because it's exactly what makes this so intriguing. LaRavia signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Lakers on June 30th. And when it happened, a lot of fans shrugged. Free agency had just opened, there were bigger names floating around, and this signing didn't get the hype it deserved. But now, Stephen A. highlighted that, with some new reports and stats, LaRavia's signing is actually better than any of us imagined. Let's start with his late-season numbers from 2023 to 24. In his last 8 games, LaRavia put up 20 points per game on exceptional efficiency, shooting better from 3 than from the field overall. And those final 3 games, folks, he dropped 32, 28, and 29 points. Stephen A. said on air, "That's not a fluke. That's a young player heating up at the right time, showing he can score efficiently and impact the game immediately." For a Lakers bench that struggled mightily last year, particularly with scoring, this is an absolute game-changer. Defensively, this is where Stephen A. really leaned in. He pointed out LaRavia's perimeter defense grades for 2024-25. A- in isolation defense, a C++ in ball screen navigation, and a B in on-ball chase defense. He also showed good instincts with lane steals and on-ball puck disruptions. Stephen A. noted, "This is a guy who can come off the bench, defend multiple positions, and actually make the Lakers better when the starters rest. He's not just another 3 and D player, he's an all-around contributor." And that's the kicker. He's only 23 years old. At that age, a player shooting 42.3% from 3 with defensive versatility is exactly the kind of talent the Lakers needed to bolster their bench and maintain playoff competitiveness. Stephen A. also discussed the scouting aspect, emphasizing that the Lakers had been monitoring LaRavia for a while. He said, "This isn't a random pickup. They've been watching him, studying his development, and they got him for $6 million a year. That is an absolute robbery in today's market." He compared LaRavia favorably to other bench options and stressed that this signing fills a void that the Lakers desperately needed addressed: consistent, smart scoring off the bench, paired with defensive versatility and high basketball IQ. Now, let's look at his recent history. LaRavia played last season's split between the Kings and Memphis Grizzlies. He averaged 6 points per game combined. But, as Stephen A. highlighted, raw stats don't tell the whole story. What matters is how he finishes games, how he performs in high-leverage situations, and the trajectory of a 23-year-old who is still developing. LaRavia has shown glimpses of being able to carry scoring responsibility in short bursts while also staying disciplined on defense. Stephen A. pointed out, "If you don't see the potential here, you're missing the bigger picture. This is a guy who can change the second unit entirely." In addition to scoring and defense, LaRavia brings size, length, and versatility, exactly the type of player the Lakers needed to complement Marcus Smart, Ayton, and the rest of the roster. Stephen A. made it clear that this is not just a depth move, it's strategic roster construction. He emphasized that having a young player like LaRavia allows the Lakers to maintain flexibility while having a real impact on both ends. For Pelinka, this is a chess move, acquiring a high upside under-the-radar talent without sacrificing the financial flexibility the team has worked hard to build this offseason. Stephen A. also touched on the mental side of LaRavia's game, noting his confidence and composure despite limited opportunities early in his career. That, combined with his finishing ability and defensive awareness, makes him a potential X-factor for the Lakers. LaRavia isn't just a rotation player. He could very well become a cornerstone of their bench strategy. And Stephen A. repeatedly called attention to this on the show, saying, "This is the kind of signing that doesn't grab headlines immediately, but 2 months into the season, you'll see how critical he becomes." So, as your narrator, sharing Stephen A. Smith's perspective here, it's clear Jake LaRavia's signing is quietly one of the most impactful moves of the Lakers' offseason. He brings scoring, defense, youth, and versatility all at a bargain. The Lakers now have the kind of bench presence that can keep them competitive in playoff matchups. And Stephen A. is right. This could very well end up being one of the smartest low-key acquisitions in recent Lakers history. The only question now is how quickly Frank Vogel, or whoever's coaching, integrates him and leverages all these skills to maximize impact, both offensively and defensively. All right, folks, let me break down something Stephen A. Smith said on his show that really puts this Jake LaRavia signing into perspective. Stephen A. was crystal clear. This is way more impactful than most fans realize. He emphasized that LaRavia shot 42.3% from 3 combined last year, and he's a career 37% three-point shooter. Now, keep in mind, this is a player who started his career with Memphis and finished last season with the Sacramento Kings. He's bounced around a little, but the moment you give him a firm role, he performed. And Stephen A. stressed that it's exactly that reliability and versatility that makes him such a valuable pickup for the Lakers. Stephen A. also highlighted something that not enough people are talking about: the synergy between LaRavia and Marcus Smart. Small sample size, sure, but the impact was notable. Opposing teams shot just 26% from 3 when Smart and LaRavia shared the floor last season, 10% below league average. Stephen A. called that stat a glaring sign of the defensive upside Jake brings to the table, and he made a point of giving credit to resources like PB Stats for quantifying it. This isn't just about isolated numbers. This is about how LaRavia can contribute in real game scenarios alongside an elite perimeter defender like Smart. Think about it. The Lakers now have both Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia. Stephen A. made it clear that pairing these two gives Los Angeles a serious defensive tandem off the bench, one that can hold down the perimeter and disrupt opposing offenses. He said, "This is the kind of duo that can change second-unit matchups, limit threes, and create transition opportunities for the starters when they rest." And the beauty of it is that LaRavia isn't just a defensive asset. He's young, 23 years old, and an efficient scorer. In the final stretch of last season, we saw him put up 20 points a game over his last 8 contests, with back-to-back 30-plus point performances. Stephen A. called it a glimpse at what he can be when given the minute, and a sign that the Lakers may have found a hidden gem. Now, let's talk role and fit, because this is where it gets interesting. CBS Sports has some graphics showing the projected Lakers rotations, but Stephen A. pointed out that LaRavia's versatility doesn't always get the recognition it deserves. He can slot in as the backup small forward or power forward, depending on the lineup. And Stephen A. was emphatic. The Lakers are getting a player who can fit alongside Luka Doncic or Reeves like a glove, stretch the floor, provide defense, and relieve LeBron of some minute. That's invaluable, especially with load management concerns. And yes, there's the matter of bench construction. The Lakers have been criticized for weak bench scoring, and Stephen A. noted that LaRavia addresses that perfectly. He said, "This isn't a guy who comes off the bench and just fires threes. He's fundamentally sound, defends multiple positions, and can create opportunities for others." That's exactly the type of player the Lakers needed in the second unit. Pair him with Smart, and you suddenly have a defensive tandem capable of limiting three-point attempts. while maintaining offensive spacing, a luxury the Lakers haven't always had. Stephen A. also touched on lineup possibility. Whether the Lakers stagger Doncic, Reeves, and Rui with Smart and LaRavia, or experiment with starting Smart, LaRavia adds flexibility that allows for multiple configurations without losing defensive intensity. And he stressed that versatility is key in today's NBA, especially in the West where every possession matters. This is a player who can be moved around, guard different positions, and allow the Lakers to adjust on the fly, Stephen A. said. Finally, he talked about the culture and mentality LaRavia brings. Even overseas and in smaller rotation, LaRavia has demonstrated poise, work ethic, and adaptability. Stephen A. made it clear that this signing isn't just about numbers. It's about fit, character, and potential. He said, Jake LaRavia may not be a household name yet, but in the right system, alongside the right players, he can change the dynamic of this team both offensively and defensively. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why this move is quietly one of the smarter acquisitions in a Lakers offseason that's already full of headline. And finally, folks, Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when talking about the opportunity Jake LaRavia has with the Lakers. He made it clear that while LaRavia has shown flashes, there's still a lot to prove. Stephen A. emphasized that earning a role on this roster isn't automatic. You have to bring it every night. He pointed out that the Lakers gave LaRavia a tremendous opportunity to showcase his talent, both on the defensive end and as a versatile scorer off the bench. Stephen A. was very clear. This is a chance for a young player to step up in a big market with real expectations, and the spotlight is on him. Stephen A. also highlighted something interesting that not many fans might realize. LaRavia trusted the Lakers organization enough to come in and bet on himself, even when other teams like the Milwaukee Bucks were in pursuit. Stephen A. didn't say it directly, but he made it obvious. LaRavia saw the Lakers as the best place to grow, to develop, and to maximize his potential. It's a vote of confidence in the culture Rob Pelinka and the front office have built, and Stephen A. underscored that point, noting how rare it is for young players to make a decision like this based on long-term fit rather than short-term money. And here's where Stephen A. really got passionate. He reminded fans that LaRavia's impact won't just be in scoring or three-point shooting. It's about the subtle things that make the Lakers better as a unit. He stressed the defensive chemistry with Marcus Smart, the ability to relieve LeBron James and Luka Doncic in critical minutes, and the flexibility to fill multiple roles in both small ball and traditional lineups. Stephen A. said, if Jake LaRavia can execute the way he's capable, this Lakers bench suddenly becomes one of the most feared second units in the league. At the end of the day, Stephen A. framed it perfectly. The opportunity is there, the tools are there, and the support from the organization is there. But it's on Jake LaRavia to prove he belongs and can be a consistent contributor. And fans should be watching closely, because if he hits, this is a signing that quietly could define how effective the Lakers are throughout the season, not just in sporadic moments, but night in and night out. So, Lakers fans, that's the takeaway Stephen A. left us with. Respect the opportunity, recognize the potential, and understand that LaRavia's success will hinge on work ethic, consistency, and embracing the Lakers system. And let me know down below what you think. Do you believe Jake LaRavia can become that key rotational piece? Were you aware of the Marcus Smart defensive stat with him? This is the kind of player who could quietly transform the bench, and Stephen A. thinks it's worth keeping a very close eye on him this season. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, stay tuned, because there's a lot more to come with this Lakers roster.